Hello there and welcome to this video. This is the second episode of the KabAI series, and I want to appreciate you for taking up our Kab Python series. And now this is the time to move on to the KabAI series that will be handled by very good facilitators, as you're going to see. I will be one of the facilitators, and we shall be having a couple of other facilitators to take us through all the important concepts that will get you started with your AI journey. So if you're a beginner and you've mastered your Python very well, what we've covered, you're very eligible to take up our KabAI series, and I welcome you on board. And yeah, this is the second episode, and I will be covering data analysis with Pandas library. This is a very crucial library that is used for data analysis, as we are going to see. So we're going to get started in just a few minutes. My name is Simon, and so let's get started. So this is what I'll be covering in this video. I'll talk about what Pandas is, the essence of Pandas in AI, machine learning, and data science. I'll take you through installation and importing. Then we shall see how to create data, how to read data, and how to write data using this powerful library that we're looking at today. Then we shall look at indexing. After creating our data, how can we index it? How can we select it? How can we assign data? All these concepts, we're going to look at them. Then we shall look at conditional selection. This is now advanced selection. We select with a given condition. So all this is what we're going to be covering for this episode of the KabAI series. So on to the first item. Pandas is a powerful Python library for data manipulation and analysis. It provides easy to use data structures like series and data frames for handling and analyzing data sets, simplifies data cleaning, filtering, and transformation, making it essential for data science and machine learning tasks. So we very well know that when you're dealing with data, you need to identify some important patterns in that data. So there's need to do a lot of analysis on it, and you need to manipulate it after creating it. You need to do some data cleaning, filtering, feature engineering, and that's what comes with this library. So it is a very handy tool. If you're doing some AI, data science, you'll find yourself using this library quite a lot in your projects. So what's the essence? Like we have already talked about, it enables you to do a lot of data manipulation, that is cleaning, filtering, modifying data sets in order for you to do analysis. Then you can also do data analysis. That's where you can do quick summary of data, find patterns within the data, perform some statistical analysis. We're going to see some of these concepts in this video as we move on. And then there's also some bit of feature engineering. Okay, so how do we install and import pandas? You cannot use this library before you install it. And even if it is installed, you cannot use the library before you import it. So let me take you through these two steps, installation and importing. Okay. So here, I already have Pandas installed on my machine, but let me assume I didn't have it installed. I would come here on my terminal here. You can do it from your VS Code terminal here, or you can use the usual command line by doing Windows R. Then you write there CMD and you put enter. So you can either do it from that side, or you can just do it here from your VS Code. So here I'll just write pip install. Okay, a minute. Let me ignore this terminal. I won't use the terminal for now. So I'll just say pip install pandas. Then I click enter. When I click enter, pip is a Python package manager. So it is the one we normally use for installing most of these modules or packages or libraries in order for them to be accessible and usable on our machine. So when I say pip install pandas, it's going to install all the packages, all the data objects, functions, and everything that comes with this library will be installed on my machine. So that's what it is happening right now. So as that goes on, that is how you install Pandas. Now, after it is installed, you just come where you're writing your programs, and now you import it. So you say import pandas as PD. So the reason we are saying, so you're seeing here after the installation, it is telling me requirement already satisfied. This means Pandas is already installed on my machine. I don't need to install it another time. But for your case, it will run and it will tell you Pandas has been successfully installed. So after installing it, that's how you come now and start importing it on your machine like this. You can just say import pandas, but it is always advisable to import it as then you give it a shorter acronym which you will be using when you're referring to the library. For example, here I've used PD. So whenever I'm trying to access a certain function or object from the library, I'll be using PD instead of using pandas. You shall be seeing this as we move on. Okay, back to my slides. So that is that. Then we now have to look at creating, reading, and writing data. So there are two popular objects used for creating data in Pandas. We are beginning with creating data. We are assuming that you do not have a data set available and you want to collect your own data and then create a data set. So there are two objects which are handy for that. There is the data frames and then the series. Let's begin with the data frame. A data frame is simply a table, like you're going to see. You just take a data frame as a table. It contains an array of individual entries, each of which has a certain value. Each entry corresponds to a row or record and a column. A data frame uses the concept of a Python dictionary where column names are keys and a list of values as entries. So if you took our Python series course, you'd know what a dictionary is. So the concept used in the dictionaries is literally the same used for data frames. In dictionaries, we had keys and values. You insert a key and then you give it a value. Here, what is the key now is the column name. Let me just dive into VS Code and I show you that. So let's assume I want to create a data set to store, what can it store? Can it store the students' names and then to store the marks? It can also store the city of origin. Okay, we can begin with that. So I can call it data1 equals to. Now I'm going to create a data set. For the other side, if it was the dictionary, I would just put this and I start putting my values. But now I'm creating a data frame. So I say to access any object. Remember, data frame is an object in the Pandas library. You have to use pd dot. So I would say pd dot data frame. Data frame, it is here. You should note the spelling. If you do wrong spelling, it won't work out. So inside here, I now pass in the dictionary. And we know that a dictionary, you use these kind of brackets. After putting those kind of brackets, you now start entering your data. You enter a key and then the values. But now for this case, the keys are the columns. So let me assume I want to first enter the first name or full name. I would say full name, that is the key or column name. Then a list of values for names, it is a list. Okay, I will have Simon, then I will have Peter, and then I will have Dennis, and then I can have Ivan. One, two, okay, let me put just one. Okay, and that's it. I've created, this is the first column now. This will be the column name, full name, and this will be the entries for that column. Then if I want to input another column for this data, I just go here, then I put comma, and then another key, maybe I want to put their marks, the marks for these students. Then column, colon, and then a list of marks. Okay, you can have 87, 67, 94, 45. Are they 5? Remember, the other side, we have 5 elements. So you have to make sure that each column you're balancing the elements you're entering. Here we had 5 names. So even here, these are 5. So we are good to go there. Then I can input another column. This column, what should it be? Can we put course name? Let's put course name. Course name. And then colon, then a list of courses for those entries. So the first person maybe does BCS, the second person does BBA. Okay, the third person does what? BCS. Then another person does BME. Then lastly, BIT. Are those 5? Okay, so we can stop at that. We have already created a data set or a table called data1, and it has those columns which you have described there. Let me run this and we'll see. Let me print that table before I run it. I want to print that table or data frame that I've just created here. Save this and run. Okay, okay. Some technical issue here. Okay, we are back. So this is our table. You can see we are having the names here. These are the marks, and these are the courses, just like we created up there. And you can see the column names are there. So Just the way you understood the concept of the dictionary is how you should understand the concept of a data frame. In the dictionary, what you enter as the keys at this side, they are the column names. And then what you enter as the values are now the entries for those columns. So that is that with the data frame. Moving on, we have what we call a series. Now, a series is now just a single column in a table. For example, a data frame is a table. Then a series is just a column in a table. So it just gives you a list of values as arguments. A series takes in a list of values as arguments, and it does not have a column name, though it can only have one overall name. So let's see how a series works. You see, the way we had this is a data frame because you can see it is a table with multiple columns. You can put as many columns as you want. But a series is just one single column. And to create it, we create it in the same way we created a data frame. We can call it, what can we call it? Data2. Data2 equals to pd dot series. Then we are saying, you see this data frame here, it is taking in a dictionary. You see inside the brackets for data frame, whatever is there, that is how we define a dictionary. So a series is a little bit different. For it, it takes in a list. So inside here, we are expected to put in a list of items. So to define a list, we just use those square brackets, and then we put our values. This can be anything, Let me just put these integers. Let me just put this integer 76, 78, 12, 19, and that is that. We finished creating a series. You can come here and print it. Data2, and okay, just a minute. Yeah, here it is, the series that we've just created. So for it is just a single column in our data. So moving on, how do we read data? How do we read data files? How do we read data files? Now, most of the times you realize that you won't be creating data from scratch all the time. In most cases, there is always data that is available, and you just have to read it and use it in your program. So how do you read data? Data can be stored in various formats, but the common one is the CSV file. CSV stands for comma separated file. So we're going to see how to read data. Let's jump to VS Code. Okay, this is an example of a CSV data files. Now, what you see here, product A, this is a column name. Product B is also column name. Product C is also a column name. And these are the values. This is for product A, this is for product B, this is for product C. But you can see that all the items are separated by commas. That's why it is called a comma separated file. But this can be read as a table, although in a CSV file it is not represented as a table. Everything just separated by commas. So you can read this file and have that data represented as a table. And you do that using the Pandas library. So let's see how we can do that. So with me here, I have a certain file which I got from Cargo. It is here, WineMag data, this one here. So when I open it here in my VS Code, you're going to see, you see it is WineMag data, 130k v2.csv. It means it is a CSV file. And you can see all the data that is there. And see country, Italy, Portugal, US, all this, everything is just separated by commas. And this is not understandable a lot. That's why we need this library to get to have this data visualized well and make good use of it. So I want to read this data here from this file in my program here. So what we do, let me get rid of this up to here. Now I want to read that data. I want to read it and store it in a variable called, how can I call it? Let me call it reviews. Okay, let me call it wine data. Then we say pd dot. There is a function called read CSV. This is the function used to read data files. You should be noting some of these functions. So far, we've seen the data frame that is an object, a series. It is also an object. Now, to read files or to read files and be able to access data from those files, we use read CSV file. Then inside here, you put the file name. So the file name is, okay, the file name is, now I'm just here, you're supposed to put the URL to where that file is stored. But because for my case, it is stored in the same location from where my file is or my program today.py, I'll just have to write the name of the file. But if it was in a certain other location, I would have to put the URL to that location. So here I'll just put wine mag data 130k v2 dot csv. Hope that is it. So just like that, we finished reading that file. You can see here I read it from, I stored it in a variable called wine reviews. And here for this case, it was located in a separate location from where my file is or in the program that is trying to access it. So this what you see here, input, wine reviews. I'm trying to locate it. This is the URL to where the file is located. But for this case, it is in the same location, so I don't need to do that. So by doing that, we've read the data from that file, and we can be able to do some manipulations from it. For example, to know the shape of the data. Shape means determining how many columns are in that data and how many rows are in that data. That's what we mean by shape. So you just do object.shape. By object, I mean the name which you gave here to the variable where you stored the data. All that data from this file is now stored in this variable called wine data, and we can try to access it here. So let's first find out the shape. So I'll say wine data dot shape, wine data dot shape, wine data dot shape, wine data dot shape. This is the function, so I put that. Then I run. It should be able to return for us the shape by telling us the number of columns and the number of rows in that data set. Okay. Then we have what we call the head function. The head function just gives you the first 5 elements or the first 5 rows from the data. We're also going to see it. Then we have columns. This one returns the column names from the data. We're also going to have a look at it. Okay, it is still running, but okay, error. There's an error somewhere. Tuple object is not callable. Okay. Yeah. So there we go. We're having 129971. So this is the number of rows in the data. And then 14, these are the number of columns. It is row first, column second. So that is the shape of the data. So let's try to return the first five rows from that data set. So to return the first 5 rows, we do wine data dot head, then save and run. Wine data dot head. Sorry, this is okay. That one is a function. Okay. Yeah, so these are the first 5 you can see from index 0 up to index 4. These are the first 5 elements from that data set. So we can also return. Here it is not showing all the columns because there are very many. There are 14 of them. You can't return all of them. That's why you're seeing these dots here. This means from the first, and then this is now the last column in the data set. Now we can try to return the column names. To return the column names, we use dot columns. Dot columns will return all the column names. And there they are. We have we have country, we have description, we have designation, we have points, we have price, we have province, we have region 1, region 2, tester name, and so on. There are 14 of them. All of them are there. You can view all of them from there. Now, if I want to access, okay, we're going to reach there. So what can we do if we want to index, select, and assign data? Selecting specific values from a pandas data frame or series is a key step in almost any data operation. It's essential to know how to quickly and efficiently access the data points relevant to your analysis. This involves learning how to index, select, and assign data in Python using pandas. So when you have a data set like what we have here, you won't be using all that data. You need to use data that fits your requirements. That's why we need to do some bit of indexing, selecting, and so on. And at the same time, if you need to identify some patterns in the data, you need this indexing and selecting will be very handy for you to achieve that. So we have what we call the native accessors, selecting specific values from a pandas data frame or series. Okay, have we seen this already? So native accessors, okay. One of the native accessors is using the object name and then dot column name. Let's see that. So we've seen all these columns here. We have country, description, designation, points. Now let's say I want to access only the countries. So we've said that the syntax is object name dot column name. So you just put the object name or the variable where you've stored the data, then dot the column name of the data of the column that you want to access. So let me first access only the countries from this data. I would say dot country. You have to make sure this spelling you're putting here is the exact spelling of that column name. Otherwise, you won't get it. So when I save this and run, I want to print only the countries. Oh, it's not coming. Yeah, they are here. We have Italy, Portugal, US. Now it is printing all the countries from index 0 up to index that, or the last index. So these are the countries. Now, if I want to print ISO points somewhere, if I want to print points at these different rows, I would put dot points. And okay, the points are there. This data set is mainly about uh, the wine, the data about wines in these different countries, the points, how the different brands of wine are rated, their prices, the description of those wines, and so on. That's what the data is all about. So every column has the country where the wine is coming from, the points or the rating for that wine, the description for that wine brand, and then the price and all the other information. There's the tester name, the Twitter handle, like we saw all those columns that are there. Let's review them again. Dot columns, dot columns. Yeah, I want to return all those columns. We have a look at them again. Yeah, so there is the country where the wine is coming from, the description, designation, points, the price, province, region, tester Twitter handle, and so on, winery. So this data is mainly about wines in those countries and all these metadata. So we've seen how to access the column name, accessing this. So we can also access a given attribute or column of an attribute. We can access a given attribute or column of an attribute by using this method, what we've done here. Or we can just have the object name and then we put the column name inside the square brackets. Let's see that method also. So we've seen this method. If I want to access the countries, if I want to access the countries, I just put wine data.country, and then I will be able to have a look at all the countries where this wine is coming from. Now, that is one method. The other method is using this. You put those square brackets, then inside here you write country. Still, you'll be able to get the same thing. There you go. Can have the description, when I save and run. Now I'm getting the description. Now I can decide to have the description. Okay, for now, let me have the points and the country. So I want to retrieve the country and then the points also. I also want to have the points, save and run. Okay, some errors somewhere. Okay, key error from error. So, okay. Save this and run. Yeah, and there we go. We are now having the countries and the points. You can even decide to display any other column. We just have to bring now the columns in form of a list. Now I'm displaying only this. I can add on. I saw winery somewhere. I saw winery. So I would say winery. Save that and run. And now we are having the winery also, country, points, and then winery. So that is the second method of trying to access data from specific data from the data set. Now we can decide to print object name and then the row index. Okay, this we can do this last one you're seeing here. We can use it to access this specific entry. Let's say I want to access, let me see here. Okay. So we are seeing that the first country at index 0 is Italy. So I want to print only Italy. I don't want to print all these other countries. So to do that, I will say, wine data, and then I put that I want to access country, and then at index 0. And there we go, we have Italy here. If I want to access, so this Italy is the very first country at index 0, at row 1. If I want to access the country at row 2, I just change this to 1. And then I have Portugal. So if I want to access something else, maybe I want to access the description now and not the country. I change the column name to description. I want to get the description for the wine at index 1 or the second row. So when I save that and run, I want the description. That is the description. This is a ripe and fruity. This is ripe and fruity, a wine that is smooth while still structured. Farm tannins are filled out with juicy red berry fruits and freshened with acidity. It's already drinkable, although it will certainly be better from 2016. So this is the description for the wine at index 1 or the second row. You can do that to access any other row. So those are the native accessors. Now in Pandas, we have special functions used for accessing data in our data sets. We have the iloc and loc. Iloc is an index-based paradigm. It involves selecting data based on its numerical position in the data. Unlike the native Python accessors that we've been looking at, both iloc and loc are row first, column second indexing schemes. Now you've seen here, we've been having the column first, description is the column, and then row second. But now this one is telling us that this iloc and loc, for them, they are row first, column second. So we should always consider that when we are using it to access data. Okay, row first, column second indexing schemes. So this is how you use it. Let's see how it works in practice. Let me comment out this. I should not comment out this because if I'm still using this data, remember I read all that data that was in this file. By the way, like you see it here. Here in a CSV file, we're just having country, Italy. So Italy is the first country. That's why we were seeing it there as we were displaying. At index 0, it was what was coming. And then this is the description, aroma, what. And then the second row at index 1, we had Portugal. The next one is US, and so on. So we've read all this data and it is now stored in this variable or object wine data. So whenever I want to access it, that's what we use. So let's jump on to these two concepts, or index-based accessors, which come inbuilt with pandas. So let's begin with iloc. iloc is an index-based scheme. So if I want to access I want to access the country at index 0, I would say wine data dot iloc dot iloc, then I put those square brackets, and then I put 0. I save this and run. Nicosia, really? Is that what we expected? Maybe not. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Index 0. Index 0. Index 0. Index 0. You have to select the column, I guess. Yeah, now we have Italy. The other time we had not selected the column where we are getting this entry from. So to get Italy, we said this scheme works like this. We have row first, column second. It is different from this one. You see, using this scheme here, we're having column first, row second, because this description is the column, and then here we are describing that we want the item at row with index 1, or the second row. But now for this case, we are having row first. This means the first row, and then 1 is the column, the column for countries. If I want to change and have the row for points, let me first check which row. I want to first check the index for I want to check the index for points so that I can access it here. When data dot columns, columns. So this is one of the disadvantages of this scheme already. You've seen that to use it, you need to be knowing the index for each column and the index for each row that you want to use. For example, here we used country because we knew that it is at index 1. 0 just means the first row. Now, okay, columns, where are the columns? Let me expand this a little bit. Why is this a bit weird? Okay, they are here. We're having, so the very first column is this one, which is having 0. And that's why we used 1 here to access country, because country, you can see it is the second. This is 0, then this is 1. So country is at index 1. Description is at index 3. Designation index 4, and then points is at index 5. So if I want to access the country and the points for the wine that is coming from that specific country, I will have here print wine data. Now I want the first row, which is if the first row, and then I want country. No, I now want to have the points, not the country. So points is at index what? Is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I write here 4, okay, yeah, 87. We have 87 here. Let me first comment out this. So those are the points for the wine at the first row. The points for that wine that is coming from Italy, because it is the one uh, at index 0. Now, if I change and I check for index 7, what are the points? It is 87. It is 87 still. How about index 9 or row 9? Oh, surprising, it is still that. About, okay, shall keep seeing this data as we move on. So that is iLoc. We can also do slicing. We know what we mean by slicing. Let me first have all that data printed. Wine data. Let me first have all of it printed. Remember, it is stored in wine data. So I just run this. All of it will be displayed there. So that is it. Okay. Now this is too much, and it is too much to handle at the same time. Now you can see 0, Nicosia, and so on. Now, if I want to access only, maybe I want to access from the first row up to the 9th row. Those are the first 10 elements of the data. I would say wine data.iloc. Remember, this one is the row first, column second. So I first describe the rows which I want to access. I want to access from the first row, which is at index 0, up to the 9th index. Now I will put 10 so that I can access up to the 9th index. If I put 9, I will access only to 8. I hope we know this concept. So this will give me the first 10 elements. That is from 0 up to 9. Then I put a comma and I describe the columns which I want to access. Which columns do I want to access? I want to access the column of the country. Now, the column of the country, we can also describe and have more than one columns accessed here by just putting them in a list. I want to access these columns. Column 1, which is country. Column 4, which we already saw. It has, is it the points? And then, which other column can we access? I don't remember which one price was, but this is the disadvantage of using this scheme. So let's just have those two. We just have the data displayed from the first 10 elements of the data display, that is from 0 up to index 9. And then I want it to display the country name and the points for the wine that is coming from that country. And I save this and run it. There we go. You see, we are having from index 0 here, and then up to index 9. And then we are only having those two columns, country and points. This is at index 1. This is at index 4. If you want to have only one of the two, you can still do that. Now, another way we can do this, we can eliminate this 0. When you just have this, it means you're having anything that is below 10, but you have to stop at 10 when you have it like this to print the same thing. And I save this and run. Okay, it is running. Yeah, we're still having the same thing. So if you're good with this, you can use this. If you haven't understood it, you can stick to using the other one. But remember, in Python, we target having fewer lines of code, and that is the target that we're having here. So we can also decide to, even the columns, we can do some bit of uh, slicing on them. This means that, okay, is not valid at this point. We shall do it later on. So we can also have specific rows displayed here. Instead of having all the rows from 0 up to 9, let me assume I want to have only the even rows, that is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So you just put a list here. You can display the list of rows which you want to display. I want index 0, I want index 2, then I want index 4. Oh, what's wrong with this? Index 4, index 6, then index 8. Okay, so these are the rows that I want to access, and these are the columns that I want to access. And I save and run. You can see we are having 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So you can play around with data and you'll access only what you want to access using the iLock indexing paradigm. Now, if there is also negative indexing, remember the last time when we were slicing, we said if you want to access the first 10 elements, you can just put a colon here and put 10. If you want to access the first 5, you can just put 6 here, and you access the first 5. Access the first 5 like that. Now, if you want to access, if I put this 6 here, it means the data will begin, it will display from index 6 up to the end of the rows to the last row. That's what it means. If I put 6 at the end here, it means it will begin from the first row, but end at index 5 here. But if I put 6 at the beginning here, it means begin from the 6th row and go up to the last row. So if I display this, you can see there, this is the last row. And let's see where it is beginning from. Okay, where you can see it is beginning from the 6th row. So that is what you can do with slicing. Now, how about if I want to access the last 5 elements? So there you put -5 here. That's how negative indexing comes in. This will give you the last 5 elements of the data set. Okay, you can see these are the last 5 elements in the data set. If you want to have the last element, you want to know what is the last element or last row in this data set. You run that and it will be able to give you this. There it is. So negative indexing, that's how it is used. Okay, moving on, let's look at the label-based. Lock is a label-based paradigm. And in this paradigm, it is the data index value, not its position, which matters. For example, you can have, remember even lock is row first and then column second. But for this case now, we only put the index for the rows, but for the columns, you have to write the column name. So this is how it is different from the iLock, but they both use the same syntax. Now, let me try to access the first 10 elements from this data using lock. The first 10 elements, I'll put 10 here, then change this, it is now lock. For the case of lock, you have to put the column name, we don't put the index, that's the difference. Now I want country. I want country, country. Okay. Yeah, those are the countries there, the first 10. Now, the difference, this is giving us another difference for loc and iloc. Remember for iloc, when you put here that you want from 0 up to 10, this 10 index item at index 10 or at row 10 is not included. But you can see for loc, it is included here. You see 10. By the other time, it was stopping at 9 when we were using iloc. I hope you identified that. So this is one of the difference between loc and iloc. You should know that uh, when you're using loc, it includes the last index which you put here. So it means this will go from 0 up to 10, like you're seeing here. But if you're using iloc, which you'll be just seen, for it, if you put this, it will have it from 0 up to 9. We've just seen that. You can review back and confirm it. Now, if I want to add another country that I want to access, I'll have to, okay, let me have, I want to access country, and also I want to access, I also want to access points. So I have points, and then let me first have that. Okay. Okay. Save and run. You still have errors. Okay, let's get rid of this. Save that and run. Yeah, now we have it. We're having from the first row up to the 10th row, and then we are displaying the country and points. You can also add the price. You can also add the price there. Okay, this is a string. This is a string. Save and run. So you're displaying the country, the points, and the price. You can also add the description. You just keep listing all the column names that you want to access. Now, this is the beauty with loc. Remember for iloc, we could not access price because we didn't know at which index price is. But here you just write the price name. You don't need to know its index. You just have to keep track of the rows which you want. Do you want to access the first row, the second row? Now, since the rows don't have designated names like the columns, that one is okay. You just keep using these indices 0, 1, 20, and so on to indicate the row that you want to retrieve. But for the columns where we know the column names, you can see that it is always better just write the column names. So for instances where you know the column names for your data, loc is always better to use. But if you don't know the column names, that's when you stick to using iloc. But all the other things, they are the same. Okay, so if I want to access only the first country in the data set or the country for item at row 1, like we did the other time, this is 0, then 0, we want to access the first country. The country at row 1, let's get rid of all this. There we go. Now we want to have only Italy. Where is Italy? We want to have only Italy. That's what you do. That's for accessing a particular one item from the data. Okay, there we go. We have Italy. Now, if we want to access US, US is at index 10. So you just write your 10 here. Save and run. And there we go. So that is for accessing single elements from a row. So lock is ideally simple and straightforward if the attributes of the data to retrieve is known. We already saw this. For example, we can be interested in only these columns in our data set. We've already seen this. If you want to retrieve only the tester name, the tester Twitter handle, and the points, you just give this, you just list these columns that you want to access in your list, like we've just seen recently. Now, to choose between lock and ilock uses the Python standard lib indexing scheme, where the first element of the range is included and the last one excluded. We just saw that scheme here. Let me rewind a little bit. This is ilock. Now, ilock does not expect the name, it just expects index for the country. If I want to okay, that is ilock, that is at index 10. Now, if I want to access from 1 to 10, like we saw, just write colon here. That means we're going to see this. You can see that it is stopping at index 9. It is not including index 10 like lock was doing. So that's what we are trying to say here, that ilock uses the Python standard library indexing scheme, where the first element of the range is included and the last one excluded. So 0 to 10 will refer to 0 to 9. Lock, meanwhile, indexes inclusively. Meanwhile, Lock, meanwhile, indexes, okay, the last element inclusively. So 0 to 10, we'll select 0 up to 10. We've already seen that. We won't go back. Hope you've gotten this. Now, there is what we call conditional selection as we look to conclude this video. Conditional selection to do interesting things with the data. However, with the data, we often need to ask questions based on conditions. For example, suppose that we are interested specifically in better than average wines produced in Italy. We can start by checking if each wine is Italian or not. To check which rows have the attribute for country as Italy, we can do that. Then to display details for all rows where attributes for country is Italy, still we can do that. So let's try to do some conditional selection. Instead of doing what we've been doing with all this data, we want to select this data basing on certain conditions. That's what we are calling certain conditions. For example, we want to select all the rows for data where the wines come from Italy, because Italy is not appearing only on the first row. You can see even on the sixth row, there is Italy. You can see US appearing twice here. So there are some wines which come from the same country. Now for us, we are interested in displaying all the rows whereby those wines are coming from Italy. So to achieve that, we'll say wine data.log. Then inside here, we have wine data dot country equals to Italy. Save this and run. Okay, has it displayed it in the right way? But these are all the columns where the wines are coming from Italy. They have been displayed here. We can decide to only display true or false. So it will display details for each. It will display each row, and if the wine is coming from that country, it tells you true. If not, it tells you false. Let me first zoom out a little bit. So these are the wines that come from Italy. although the details are not very visible, all of them, but that is that. I will log into my cargo later on and we shall be able to see this more clearly. If you want to display for those countries, maybe US, let's display the wines which are from US. Okay. We want to display the wines that are from US. Okay. Then, okay, still running. It's still running. Okay, it has already displayed here. These are the wines that are originating from the US. Those ones there at index 2, at index 3, at index 4, 10, 12, and so on. Now let's try and see whether there are some which come from Uganda. Save, run. Empty data frame. So there is not wine. There are no wines that come from Uganda. Let's try for Germany. Germany. We are doing conditional selection here. We are selecting data depending on a certain condition. Now, there are some wines here from Germany. They're there. Okay. Yeah, that is that. So that is what conditional selection is. It is a functionality of the lock indexing scheme. Just have to put lock here, then inside these square brackets is where you now put your condition. Wine data dot country equals to Germany. We can even test another condition. Let's test wine data. Let's check where the points are. I saw a lot of 87 somewhere. So let's test for to display the data for wines which have the ratings of 87. That's all that I want to display. Run. And there they go. All these have the ratings 87. Now let me put 70 and see whether there are some wines which are rated 70. Okay, empty data frame. They don't exist. How about 90? 90. Do we have some ones which are rated 90? Yeah, they are there. We have a couple of them. Yeah, we have a couple of them. So that is conditional selection. Display details for all rows where attributes for country is Italy. Okay, we have seen how to display all the rows where the wines come from Italy. That is what we do. Okay, we can further check whether the wines are from Italy and the rating is greater than or equal to 90. So we can try to combine some conditions here. We can check the points and also check the country at the same time. So wine dot country equal to Italy. Italy. Now here we use this and. We don't use the normal and for Python. This one for specifically for pandas, we use that kind of and. But this is, you know how the and operator works. It will only returns what you want it to return when both conditions return true. Then while data dot points is greater than or equal to 90. Now, this will do, if you remember your logical operators very well, it will display all the rows where the wines come from Italy and their rating or the points are greater than or equal to 90. So for the rows which don't satisfy both of these conditions, they won't be displayed. For a row to be displayed, both of them have to be true. So when I save this and run, okay, some error somewhere, some error somewhere. Okay, where is that error? Where is that error? Okay, let me try to put these into brackets so that I don't confuse my compiler. Put these into brackets. I'm fed up of this. Okay. Then also at the end here, hope that is sorted now. And there we go. It is now displaying all the wines from different rows which come from Italy, and they have the ratings greater than or equal to 90. Those are the two conditions that we gave. That's conditional selection. Now we have built-in conditional selectors. The first one is in. Is in lets you select data whose value is in a list of values. You can use it to select wines only from Italy or France. Okay. Okay, let's try it out. Let's try to select the wines which are from Italy or France. So to do that, still we use the lock, and then we are saying wine data dot is in and then is a function, and it takes in, okay, is a function and takes in. Now our arguments are, we want it to display only the wines that come from two specific countries, Italy and France. Italy and France, yeah, like that. Key error cannot index with multidimensional. Okay. Okay, let me see. Should we add one more here? Oh, why are we getting errors here? Why are we getting errors? Okay, when data dot is in, and then we give Italy, then France. Okay, oh, that is it. This is supposed to be it. I don't know why it's not running. Just a minute. See that. Okay, save, run, multidimensional key. Oh, when data dot is in, It is showing some few errors here. Value error, it means we entered unexpected argument. Okay. Oh, the same thing. Okay. But then it's showing that it has to take in a list. Then why is it not accepting this? Save and okay, cannot text with multi-dimensional key. There has to be something wrong with this. We shall sort it later on. We shall sort this later on. There is something I'm not recognizing here. Okay, but that is it with conditional selectors. We've looked at this conditional selection, and these are built-in conditional selectors that you use here. Wait. Okay, use. Okay, I get it. We did not specify what this is. We just say in country, blah, 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 but we had to do here country dot is in. So that's where the error was coming from. Save and run. And there we go. Now it is displaying all the wines that come from Italy or France. That is the function of is in. Is in has okay, is null is the opposite of the other one. It displays, it highlights the values which are or are not empty. Not null displays the elements where the entries are not empty, and then is null shows you the empty entries. For example, to filter out wines lacking a price tag in the data set, here's what we do. Reviews dot. Okay, so let's try to filter out the wines that are lacking the price tag. That means all the rows are available, all the entries are available, but then there is no entry for price. So this is log wine data dot price dot not null not null. Okay, then we can also have where the price is null, and let's just replace this dot is null. This will display it will display this will display all the wines which do not have the price. Okay, all these ones do not have prices. Okay, that is that. Those are the built-in conditional selectors. Is null. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this video. But before I end this, what I've given you here is a hint. It's just a hint about the Pandas library. But I want to reference to you the Pandas course on Kaggle that you can take and master most of these things that we've been doing here. So Kaggle is a leading machine learning and data science platform which offers convenient learning with labs after each unit. There is a free guaranteed certificate at the end. So let me show you what Pandas is, sorry, what Cargo is, and help you to open an account. Now, let me first show you my account for Cargo. This is my Cargo. Let me try to open it and show you a few things, and later on I'll help you create an account for Cargo where you can learn. So to open Cargo, you just write cargo.com. I didn't show you that, but you just write cargo.com, or you can just come here and we shall see in the next few steps when you're creating an account. Okay, let me refresh. Okay, so this is my home page or my dashboard. Now, if you want to take up a course on Cargo, there are various courses on Cargo. Let me just show you my progress on Cargo. So this is the home page. This is where we are right now. Here you can access competitions. There are always various competitions on Cargo that you can take part in, machine learning competitions, and there's always a lot of money to win there. Okay, you can see here. This one ended 5 months ago. Deadline. Okay, it is still on. It is still running. You can participate. This is the money to win. This is over 2 million US dollars. I don't know how much this is in Ugandan money. Then there's another competition here, 1.1 M US dollar, not Ugandan million. And the deadline to enter this competition is November 11. And then there is this Google Unlock Global Gemini, Gemma 2 competition. There are very many of them. So this shows you that you just have to attain your skills in machine learning and you try to participate in some of these competitions here. Now, as a beginner, you look for those ones which are not very complex. There are very many of them. There's house price competitions, advanced, it is ongoing. Most of these are ongoing. So just get your skills ready and you come here and try to participate. Then data sets, Cargo has a lot of data sets. This is where you access the data sets from this where you're seeing data sets. You can see forest health and ecology diversity. This is a data set. Data science salaries 2024. If you're building something related to that, you get that data set from here. Then students' annual score in history and geography. If your research is related there, here's a data set. Bitcoin, BTC, there is a data set there. Fitness tracker, crowdsource that, Bella data project, finance. If your project is in finance, there are data sets here. Okay, programming. Okay, there are a lot of data sets here. Just know. This is where you access the data sets from instead of creating data from scratch. The other one that I was using, I also got it from here that we have been using in this tutorial. Then the models, okay, the models we shall dive there later on. So I want us to reach this learn. So if you want to learn, you go here to learn and you try to search for a specific course that you want to learn. Now, these are my ongoing courses. I have one on Python. It is 86% complete. I'm not done with it. I have one on data visualization with Seaborn. It is at 7%. I'm not done with it. Feature engineering at 6%. So I can finish this anytime I want. Then the ones that are complete are here. I have one introduction to machine learning. I'm done with it. I can view my certificate here. One on pandas that we are doing right now. I'm done with it. I can view my certificate. I'll show you later on. Then one on intermediate machine learning. I'm also done with it, and my certificate is here. So let's view the one for pandas certificate. So congratulations, you've completed pandas, and that is the certificate there. That is the certificate of completion. You have successfully completed the course, pandas. Yeah, and these are the people who prepared this course. They sign it here. I completed on June 12th, 2024. And yeah, you can also get yourself one. I can download it here. I can share on my X account. I can share on my LinkedIn. I can pin it to my profile. And that is just how good cargo. Your certificate will always be here. It won't go anywhere. If you're applying for some opportunities, there's an opportunity somewhere you want to apply, you can download the certificate and you share it. So that is that. Now, when I go back step, okay. So to learn why something went wrong, my internet. Okay, my internet is misbehaving, but I wanted to show you how you can create a cargo account and you get started because I want you to cover the rest of the remaining bits in cargo or in pandas, sorry, on this cargo platform. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, if you're just beginning, there are many other courses here. These are the courses I haven't tried out. You can try out any course here that you is computer vision, deep learning, data cleaning, machine learning, explainability, and very many other courses you can take here. So you just get started. This is the time to get started. Now, if you want to do pandas, let me show you mine, although it is complete. You just click there. Now, okay, okay, this is this. It has only 6 units. Has only 6 units. Now we've covered these first two. These two, I've covered them for you. Although when you're doing this course here, you have to redo them so that you get these ticks here. This is the tutorial part and this is the exercise part. Now, if you don't do some bit of some stuff, you won't have a tick in each of these dots here. So you'll go back, redo this, although now you go a bit faster because I've already covered this and this. Then you cover these remaining 4 units and you complete the course and you get your certificate. Now, if you're strategic enough, you can only use 1 week or less than a week because you just say every day I'll cover one. So today you cover, so in one day you can cover this and this since we've already covered them. Then another day you cover this. After finishing, you do the exercise also. So that's how you cover the courses here. Now let me show you how to get started on your own. Now let me use another account of mine. In fact, let me use Indabucks. Let me use the one for Indabucks to open a cargo account. Hope my screen is still visible. Oh, okay. So I want to open another account using my second I want to open a cargo account using one of my other email accounts. I'll use specifically the one for Indabox. Okay, so I just come here and write cargo like this, enter. And this first one is the link. So I just click on it and it will take me directly there. Okay. Okay, I want to create an account. So here we go. When you open Cargo, this is where you begin from. So you just come to register. If you have an account, you just go to sign in. But since we don't have, I chose register. Now, an easy way to register is registering with Google so that you don't have to enter many details, create new passwords, and blah blah. So I just say register with Google. Okay, sign in with Google, then it will bring you to confirm. Yeah, I'm confirming, I'm using this. Okay. By continuing, I say continue. My account is being created now for Cargo. Okay, complete registration, your profile URL is that in the box card. Email me news and tips. You can tick this, then you send. You can choose how you want your name to be displayed here. Let me put this. Let me put in the box tab. Next, privacy and terms. Privacy and terms. To accept them, okay. Okay, I say I agree. Okay, so here we are. Selling me welcome in the box cab. So this is my home or my dashboard. They are showing me some of the competitions here, but let me just dismiss. So when I go to learn here, I don't have any completed course for this account. Now I can see there is Python here, introduction to programming, introduction to machine learning, and Pandas here. This is the course I want you to take up. So I click Pandas here. When I click on it, you can see the course is there, the tutorial. I've not finished any tutorial, not done any exercise. When you finish each section you finish, here the percentage goes to 100% and you get a tick. So you do if you skip out any section, you won't get the certificate. You have to finish every part. So you can just create here and you start learning. Click here. When you begin on it, it just takes you a total of 4 hours. So if you decide to do it in one day, you can only use 4 hours and you're done with the course. Okay, I want to access this first unit. Okay, that's the first unit, creating, reading, and writing data. Okay, try the exercise, not now. You try when you're done with the tutorial. So this is the tutorial, guys. This is the tutorial. You can see the data frames, blah, blah, data frames. Okay, reading data, and everything is here. So everything is here. If you want to, they are talking of a data frame that they are talking of a data set that you also want to retrieve to download. You just go here to data, then you choose the data that you want to download. For example, the wine mug data that I was using, it is here from wine reviews. You go to wine reviews, then wine mag data 130. I think it is one of these .csv. Let me see this. This is .json, but you download the .csv. So it is the first one. Mag data 130k v2.csv. So you download it and you have it on your machine and be able to reference it like we did in so this is how you download any data set that you want to get. You always download the CSV file with the .csv. So when you're done with that tutorial, when you go down, when you're done trying out all this reading and understanding the things, there is an exercise. You just click here and start. You click and start the exercise. The exercises are always very simple. Very simple. So this is the exercise. Although I'm not going to attempt it, but if you get any challenges anywhere, you can always raise your questions in the group. The exercise is still loading. You can always raise your questions in the group, in the comment section, or you can come to my inbox, or you can meet me physically. I'm always around campus. So you just read through here and you start on with your exercise. Like for example here, create a data frame fruits that looks like this. So this is very simple. You know what to do. I know everyone can now create this. So you just come here, but before that, there are cells which you have to run here. This first cell here. To run it, you just come and click that uh, play button there. If you don't run this is for importing all the necessary uh, dependencies that you're going to use for your exercise. If you don't see setup complete, you don't proceed downwards. So, okay, setup complete, which means I can now proceed to the next step. Now, number one is telling me they want me to create a data frame that will display something like this. And they're saying your code goes here. Create a data frame matching that. Anyway, let me just do this first one for you. So I know that to create something like this is a table, which is a data frame. I say pd dot data, pd dot data frame. Then in two brackets, I input a dictionary. The column name here is apples. So I write apples. It has to look exactly like what is there. If it doesn't, you won't get the pass to continue. Now, apples has the value 30. I put my 30 here. Then I have another column of bananas. Bananas. Then, okay, bananas, the value is 21. So that is that. I think I'm done with that. This will display a table like this. When I'm done, I come here and say quick check. You can press Control Enter, or you can just press this arrow. But then this is a notebook. This is a notebook. I have an error. I have an error somewhere. If you're using all scalar values, you must pass an index. Okay, where is the error? Okay, it expects this. Okay, quick check. Yeah, now it is correct. When you get that correct, means your number is correct. You just go to the next. Now, if you fail totally to do the number, you come here, you uncomment hint, and it gives you a hint of what you can do. Now, supposing I had got stuck, I will just uncomment hint and run. Then it tells me use the pd.data frame to construct the data frame. So it has given me a hint of what to do. Now, if I still fail totally, I've tried everything and it has failed. I recommend you to do this when everything has failed. Don't always go to the solution before trying out. You've tried out everything and it has failed, then you uncomment solution and you just get the solution. So the solution is there. but I don't recommend you to always run straight there. Always try out things and let it be your last option. So I won't go beyond here. I've given you more than enough for this tutorial. So please, you go and take up that course on cargo and you run it up to the end. Only 1 week is enough for you to finish it. So you just learn at your own pace and make sure you grab that certificate. Whenever you complete it, share with us your success in the group, and we'll also be happy for you. We see that you are progressing in your machine learning career, and KabAI series is growing. Remember, our goal is to build KabAI together. So it has been yours truly, Simon, and that is my Twitter handle or X. I'm also on YouTube at mpsimon13, or you can just search Code Spark Technologies. You'll be able to find my uh, YouTube channel, and you subscribe to it also for good technology hacks and some other good solutions related to this. So thank you so much for for watching this video. My name is Simon, and these are the Cab AI series. Till next time, I'm out.